Hi guys.
Hi.
Okay, so today we are going to be comparing and contrasting two books. Do you guys remember what comparing and contrasting is?
Yes.
Who knows what comparing is?
Like, what's the same?
Yeah, we're looking at what's the same between the two stories. So somebody give me an example. Christian.
Like, this book has pancakes and that one has pancakes too.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Okay, so contrasting. What is contrasting? Aiden.
Contrasting is something that's different from the both things.
Okay. No, somebody give me an example. Kalia. What's an example of contrasting?
This book is
With the pancake books, what were two ways that they did something different?
this one was just about one pancake and the other one was about pancakes.
Okay, yeah. Somebody have another example? Ava?
If one of those books has a cow and the other one has like a different thing.
Yeah, that would be something that's different. That would be contrasting between the two books. Okay, so the first book we are going to read is called The Three Little Pigs. What do you guys notice about the cover? River. What are they holding?
Apples and
Radishes,
leaves, and apples.
I think those are turnips. You
Yeah.
guys know what turnips? Have you ever eaten a
Yeah.
turnip?
I like them.
You like 'em?
I don't.
I've never had them before. Are they like turnips? Or are they like radishes? Have you ever had them?
This is just I tried a turnip like the stream, and I took a bite of it on the very tip and it was gross.
Yeah.
I love radish.
You like radishes?
Yep.
I know something else about the front.
Yeah.
It's more of it's like a picture frame.
Yeah, it looks like a picture frame.
Mhm.
What's it made out of?
Like
Wood.
Wood. Sticks. Okay. So we're going to read this one first. And we'll go back to our desk and we'll read the other one. Okay. So it says, once upon a time, there was an old sow with 3 little pigs. She had no money to keep them, so she sent them off to seek their fortune. So why did the mom send her off?
Because she had no money.
They had no money, so they went off to, what does it mean to seek their fortune?
Go away.
Go away and
Find
a
a
new house.
purpose.
Find a new house.
try to get some money. Seek a fortune is try to get some money
And travel.
and travel.
And travel and fight some stuff.
What do they got?
Little bags.
Little bags with all-
Stick and bags.
Think they got all their stuff in there?
Yeah.
The first little pig met a man with a bundle of straw and said to him, "Please, man, give me that straw to build me a house." So the man did, and the little pig built his house with it. Along came a wolf. He knocked at the door and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no," said the little pig, "not by the hair on my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. Does this sound like the typical Three Little Pig story?
Yeah.
So the wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in, and he ate the first little pig.
That's not how the story went.
Yeah.
It's a little different. He ate the first little pig, didn't he?
Oh
Yeah.
my.
So the first little pig's already gone.
Oh.
The second little pig met a man with a bundle of sticks and said, "Please, man, give me those sticks to build a house." So the man did, and the little pig built his house with them. You think that's what's going to stand to the wolf? Then along came the wolf and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. So he huffed and he puffed, And he huffed and he puffed, and at last blew the house in, and he ate up the second little pig.
This is
something
terrible. The last pig, he makes a brick house. So.
The last little pig, let's see what he makes.
Yep, brick house.
Brick house. The third little pig met a man with a load of bricks and said, "Please, man, give me those bricks to build a house." So the man did, and the little pig built his house with them. Soon the wolf came along and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. Is he going to get in?
No.
Well, he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, but he could not blow the house in. At last, the wolf stopped huffing and puffing and said, "Little pig, I know where there's a nice field of turnips." "Where?" said the little pig. "On Mr. Smith's farm," said the wolf. "I will come for you tomorrow morning, and we will go together and get some turnips for dinner." "Very well," said the little pig. "What time will you come?" "Oh, at 6 o'clock," said the wolf.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Well, the little pig got up at 5, and he went to Mr. Smith's farm and got the turnips before the wolf came to his house. "Little pig, are you ready?" asked the wolf. The little pig said, "Ready. I have been and come back again, and I got a nice pot full of turnips for my dinner." Did the wolf get him?
No.
Didn't trick him that time. The wolf was very angry, but then he thought of another way to get the little pig, so he said, "Little pig, I know where there's a nice apple tree." "Where?" said the little pig. "Down at Mary Garden," replied the wolf. "I will come for you at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we will get some apples." Try number 2. Well, the little pig got up the next morning at 4 o'clock and went for the apples. He wanted to get back home before the wolf came, but it was a long way to Mary Garden, and then he had to climb the tree. Just as he was climbing down with his basket full of apples, he saw the wolf coming. "Little pigs," the wolf said, "you got here before me. Are the apples nice?" "Yes, very," said the little pig. "I will throw one down to you." And he threw the apple as far as he could throw. While the wolf ran to pick it up, the little pig jumped down and ran home. The next day, the wolf came again and said, said to the little pig, "Little pig, there is a fair at Shacklin this afternoon. Would you like to go?" "Oh, yes," said the little pig. "When will you come to get me?" "At 3, said the wolf. Well, the little pig went off at 2 o'clock and bought a butter churn at the fair. He was going home with it when he saw the wolf coming. The little pig jumped into the butter churn to hide. The churn fell over and rolled down the hill, and the little pig in it. This frightened the wolf so much that he turned around and ran home. Later, the wolf went to the little pig's house and told him what happened. "A great round thing came rolling down the hill right at me," said the wolf. "Ha! I frightened you then," said the little pig. "I went to the fair and bought the butter churn. When I saw you, I got into it and rolled down the hill." The wolf was very angry indeed. "I'm going to climb down your chimney and eat you up," he said. He hung a huge pot full of water in the fireplace. Then he built a blazing fire. Just as the wolf was coming down the chimney, the little pig took the cover off the pot and in fell the wolf. The little pig quickly put on the cover again and boiled up the wolf and ate him up for supper.
Good tail. His tail was out. Good, because the wolf tried
story.
to eat him. So he's fine.
And the little pig lived happily ever afterward.
He just ate his brothers then.
So what happened in the story?
Yeah.
Ava.
The wolf kept on going to the pig's house and trying to eat them.
Yeah, he kept trying to eat them. Did he eat all of them?
No.
Did he eat 2 of them?
Yeah.
But when
What else happened, Cleo?
When the third
The other 2 pigs weren't smart about building their house, and they builded their house with stuff that was it wouldn't hold up for a long time. So if it rained or if a wolf came, it wouldn't stay up.
It wasn't very strong. They built it out of straw and sticks. Could you guys ever imagine building a house out of straw and sticks?
Yeah, I would make it
It's
out
stay
of
up too long.
You would make it out of a brick house like the third pig?
Yeah.
That's probably what I did too.
and I block the chimney.
What else happened? Yeah. Was there anything different from, have you guys ever heard the story of the Three Little Pigs before?
Yeah.
Was there anything different?
Oh, yeah.
Instead of blow the house down, it said blow the house down.
And he ate the pigs.
Yeah, he ate the first little pigs. What happened in the original story?
They
the
ran
pigs
away.
came over to the other house.
Yeah, they would run to the other pig's house, but the wolf ate the first two.
Yeah, that was bad.
What's your idea? And then we got one more book to read.
Okay, I'll build a straw house, then a brick house over it, then a brick house over that.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, because then
Well, that would take a lot of work.
3 doors.
Okay,
I would build straw and then
so
stick.
we're gonna go back to our. Hey, Jared. Thank you. We're gonna go back to our seats, and I'm gonna read this under the camera.
Okay.
I don't know why that.
Oh, I love that part. Oh, wait.
I think I might have read that before. The real story of the wolf.
Wait, I read this book. I read this book.
What is this one?
This is
It's the one.
This is the true story.
It's the true story of the 3 little pigs.
It's by the wolf.
Okay. So, what do you guys notice about this cover?
It's the wolf. It's by the wolf.
Who's writing this?
The wolf.
The wolves. The wolves writing this one. So this is the true story of the Three Little Pigs.
I don't
believe it.
What else do you guys notice? What about the wolf? What does the wolf look like?
Oh, he looks old.
Hey, raise your hand. Derek, thank you for raising your hand. Yeah, he looks like he's older. He kind of looks a little sophisticated, has a little bow tie on.
Yeah,
Right
even
there.
those pigs and when clouds.
Yeah, you see the Three Little Pigs?
Yeah, even no, I only see 2 little pigs.
The true story of the 2
Okay. Well, let's see what happens in the true story of the Three Little Pigs.
Someone drew on it.
Okay, so it says, everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story, because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Who's telling the story? The wolf. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Look at what he's wearing. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheeps and pigs, but that's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. You guys see that?
Yeah.
But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. So way back, once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. Look what's in the cake. What's that right there?
Bunny. It's a bunny.
Just putting a bunny in a cake. Do you guys put rabbits in your cake?
No.
Christian, do you put rabbits in yours?
Only bunny ears.
You eat bunny ears?
I ate a bunny before.
So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw?
I don't know.
So of course the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, so I called, Little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old grandma's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze.
There's the little piggy.
And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. You see him?
Yeah.
It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there.
Okay.
What would you guys do if you had a cheeseburger sitting
Oh, we just had
I would just eat it.
I would just eat it.
Look
It
for
would
the
be
bun.
on the
Look for the
ground.
bun.
It's
If you take off the
disgusting.
tail, look for the bun.
I would
Yep.
just eat it.
How was the pig dead?
Because
Oh,
you
I
blew
know,
it down.
this is a pig.
Okay.
It's straw. How could a pig be dead because of straw? I know.
They
That makes sense.
I'll wait for you guys. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin.
Oh.
I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail, Wolf's honor. What does he mean by Wolf's honor?
Like,
Well, if it's dead,
Raise your hand. River, what does he mean?
he's not gonna play.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Cleo, what does he mean?
A wolf's honor means like the pig's dead and wolves love meat, but it's dead and it's just sitting there. It's like a wolf's honor. He's gonna eat it.
Well, not quite. Have you ever heard of somebody go like Scout's honor, or it's like he's saying, I'm telling the truth, like Wolf's honor, like I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on to I think at the ending, there's one of these guys that named Daniels, and he says it to his sergeant when they're leaving to go home.
Yeah. So it's like he's saying, I'm telling the truth. What does that look like? Look at that picture right there. What does it look like?
It looks like it's 2 4.
What do the sticks look like? It looks like a dinner plate. You think he's gonna eat it?
Yeah.
I bet so.
It's fat.
No, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house, no answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what the rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite.
Oh.
He probably had a sack full of sugar and he wouldn't give me even one little cut from my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt a cold coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Does that pig look very nice?
No.
It looks scary.
Not at all.
Yeah, he looks kind of scary. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, and of course I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history.
Big bad wolf.
The big bad wolf. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner, and they figured a sick guy was going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it, the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. Who's he talking to?
Us.
It's a pig.
It's a pig, isn't it? What does this thing say?
Pig pit.
Pig pen. Okay,
Oh no.
so now we're going to compare and contrast the 2 stories. I'm going to pass this out.
What is Andy?
Did you see that come in?
No.
Yeah.
We've read the story before. No, that twist ending gives a 10.
Okay, so when you get your paper, go ahead and just write your name up at the top.
A-S-T-I-N. Boom. I think the word
And we got our,
Right in my
and
pocket.
item 1.
Hey. Going a little too far out.
For item 1 and item 2, we're going to write the book titles. What's the book title of the first one?
The 3 little pigs.
Yep, it's just the 3 little pigs. So we'll write that here.
I cannot write small.
The 3 little pigs.
I can't do that. Oh, there we go. Oh, man.
Can you guys see that all right?
And a true story of the 3 little pigs.
Yep, and then the item 2 is the true story.
That's why I use it.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about how they are alike. What's that called? When we're talking about when two things are
Comparing.
comparing. Okay, so you're just going to make, on each of these lines, you'll just make like a little bullet right there. And then what is something that was the same about the 2 stories? We're going to raise our hands. We're not going to shout it out. How many of you are still writing? Are a lot of you still writing? Okay, I'll wait. Give me a thumbs up when you guys are ready. right, Cash?
You're not supposed to read with a pen. It's okay.
Okay, so what was one thing that was alike between the two stories? Derek.
Oh, yeah, they were, first one, they were blowing their house down. Even the second one, I think, the third little pig. Or two pigs. I got the house blown down. And the third little pig didn't.
Yeah. So two pigs. Two pigs
Got eaten. Oh, little pig.
had their houses
Blown away.
blown down. So write that one with me. Alright, what's another reason? The same characters? Yeah.
Wait,
So you say
one of
both.
them had a mama pig.
Yeah, we can write that in the difference.
Wait,
So how would we say that?
main characters?
Yeah, the main character. So you say both books had the
Mom.
same
Character.
main
Say what?
characters.
Except the mom.
What's the difference between the main characters and other characters? Christian, what's the difference between having the same movie? What are the main characters?
Mom, the three little pigs, and the wolf.
Was the mom a main character?
Oh wait, no.
Mom wasn't a main character. Okay, you guys got that one down?
No.
Still on it.
Okay.
Actually, I just started it.
Mr. Josh, this is both books.
I know, I just saw that. So both books.
The book.
Snag. Okay, Ava, what is another one?
That in both stories, they both made their houses out of stick, straw, and bricks.
So how could we say that?
They use
What words could we use?
the same materials.
And both.
In both stories, the three little pigs made their houses out of sticks.
In both stories, the pigs made their houses is out of straw, sticks, and bricks.
Straw, sticks, bricks.
And you guys get done right and give me a thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to contrast them. What does contrast mean? River, what does contrast mean?
Find the difference in both this list.
Okay, so we have our two books. We have our two books. This one. This one. And this one. So I'm going to have you write each of you write something that was different about each book. So on this side, you're going to write the Three Little Pigs. And on this side, you're going to write just one thing that was different in the story of the true story of the Three Little Pigs.
One thing.
Yeah, we'll just do one. I'll write one down, and then we'll talk about it. And we'll share, and then we can write more. If you want to come up with more, you can come up with as many as you can. But try to get at least one.
So these are not used.
Give one, each. You guys almost have one down? You one down? Yes, I know. Yeah.
Are you supposed to sneeze?
Sneeze.
Is that my cough? I can't breathe right.
Okay. Do most of you have one for each?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
So, does anybody want to share one that they have? Jada? Or which story? First one? What was something that was different?
Two pigs got eaten.
Two pigs got eaten?
That was the same.
Yeah, that was the same. Do you remember what happened? How many pigs got eaten in the true story of the three little pigs?
Two.
So that would be a comparison, or would that be contrasting? Is that the same or different? That'd be the same. So that'd be a comparison. So that would go up here. We can put that up here. Ava? Yeah. So in this story, the three little pigs had a mother. In this story, what did we know anything about the mom or anything? We just knew the wolf. Who did the wolf have? Who is he making the birthday cake for?
His
His
grandma.
grandma. So we knew the wolf had a grandma.
The wolf had a grandma.
And if you look, we didn't see this the first time. You see grandma?
No, not really.
Oh, yeah, I see Grandma
Where's she at?
in the background.
She's
Wait,
in the
it's
corner.
kind of like it's a red hood. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yep.
Yeah, like the fake
So
grandma.
there's grandma. Okay. So what's another one? So we could write that in this one. The wolf had a grandma.
Look, their grandma in the head.
This is the name. Their name.
You got another one?
So, and the wolf was telling the story, and the other one was the person who was telling the story.
What do we call that person if he's not in the story? What's it called?
Narrator.
A narrator. So there's a narrator. So in this story, the true story of the three little pigs, the wolf told the story, and in the three little pigs, there was
There's a narrator in the wolf's part of the story.
yeah, but the wolf was telling the story.
Yeah.
So the wolf was the narrator.
And the narrator is also a character. The wolf.
Does anybody have any more? Christian, do you have one?
Yeah. The wolf sneezed and the wolf flew.
So
The first one,
which-
the wolf sneezed.
and this one,
The second one.
the second
wolf
one,
sneezed, and the other one, the wolf flew.
the wolf sneezed. The wolf flew. Well, that is comparing and contrasting two stories. So, what was comparing again? Xavier, what's comparing?
The same.
Telling something that's the same. So it would be like the two pigs had their houses blown down in each of the stories. What is contrasting? Mystica, what's contrasting? What does it mean if we contrast two things? Contrasting is the same? Hey, Christian, help her out.
Contrasting means totally setting apart.
Yeah, telling the difference. Like Christian's wearing a yellow shirt, I'm wearing a blue shirt. That would be contrasting things about me and Christian. Okay. So I'll come around and pick up all these sheets,
It's blue and light, really light blue.
and then you can hand it over to Mrs. Smith.
All right, thank you.
Oh no, I
Thank
forgot
you,
to
guys.
write our names.
You guys were really good listeners.
Nice. Emma, will you put a compliment up for us?
You got a compliment?
I will.
We just need our
Now we
gold
just
and
need
then
all of our yellows and we'll have another compliment party. Hopefully we'll get a compliment fee.
well, I got a compliment. Right.
Today we have PE.
Probably not.
One time we did
One.
it was either one or two. Okay, third graders, before we take our time to finish writing and finish our test from last week, I would like you to have out your daily math. Let's go ahead and check our daily math.